So welcome everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started, and we'll add people as they join us today. I'm Frank Finnemore. I'm the Executive Director of the Cleveland Woodley Park Village, and it's my pleasure to convene this meeting and to welcome all of you. This concept came out of actually a grant application for All Souls Episcopal in Woodley Park. And they asked us to hold the training not only for our volunteers, but also for other volunteers from their community and that might be interested. So that was a criteria for getting the grant. And I thought, gee, it would be really great if we could pull together people from all different faith communities, as well as other organizations in the community that are serving older adults, including the Department of Aging and Community Living. So I sort of just said, why not pull it all together and bring as many people together as possible, centered around Ward 3, but I even extended it beyond Ward 3 because we know that there are some communities, faith communities that draw, from other areas. And so this is just the beginning. It's sort of the acorn, and we'll see the tree that gets built out of this. But the primary reason for doing this is really that with the, as you all know, with the pandemic just dragging on and new variants and whatnot, the likelihood of social isolation among older adults is just increasing. And with the health risk associated with that, it's even more important that we figure out individually and collectively how it is that we can be of help to those individuals. And
Frank, could the music be turned down? Could the music be turned down?
I don't have any music.
Does anybody else hear music? It's coming through on this. Okay. I don't know where it's coming from. It's not my place.
It could be hearing aid.
Oh, that's possible, yes.
Well, maybe if everyone can, mute, and then when I call on you, we can unmute, and that way we can deal with the music. So what I'd like to do today is really just share information. And so I thought that what we would do is we would quickly go and ask each organization to have one person represent you and let us know what it is that you're doing in your organization. We have a few slides for some people, but we don't, if you don't have slides, that's fine too. So don't worry about that. And then if we each take 2 to 3 minutes or so to talk about what's going on in our organization, then at the end, we'll have a little bit of time for questions and answers. Again, this will be is being recorded, so we will make this available to each of you also. So if there's something that you wanted to review, you can do that. So with that, I want to welcome everybody, and I'd like to go to our first faith community, Addis Israel congregation here in Cleveland Park. And I think Laura should, or Oz should be on representing the organization. Are either of you here? Okay. Well, we will come back. How about Rita Zenner? Are you here for All Souls Episcopal? No? Okay. Sorry, ma'am. Actually, Rita, you are here.
I am here. I was just muted.
Okay, great. Thank you. If you could just, first of all, thank you for this grant from All Souls, making this day possible, and the training that's coming up at 4 o'clock. If you could just tell us a little bit about what's going on there at All Souls, that would be great.
Surely. I'm welcome to everybody. And All Souls welcomes seniors to both worship services. The first one at 8:30 and the second one at 11. The one at 8:30 is a spoken mass, and there's breakfast afterwards, and then the adult forum if you're interested. Many seniors attend. I think we do have young people, but we have probably more seniors than we have young people. After the 11 o'clock service, there's a coffee hour. So it's a good time to meet someone. We also have some special programs. There's a monthly luncheon that's rather humorously called the Wise and Mature Luncheon. We tease each other about that. It's a 3-course dinner prepared by one of our members who had been a chef. And there's always good fellowship at that one. Before the pandemic, we started a group called Elder Spirituality. And that was very well received. We read several books and we had several exercises together. All Souls often puts together small groups. And of course, now it's not in person. And for the last year and a half, 2 years, they've been on Zoom, and some of them are still continuing. There's also a care committee, which sends cards to anyone who's ill or bereaved, either young or old. And our new rector, Juliana Bunting, brings warmth and joy to everyone that she touches. I hope that you'll get to meet her. She's just absolutely a jewel. And we are a welcoming church.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rita. And we
And
will
hi,
be,
Lisa. I haven't seen you in ages.
we will be able to come back at the end for some brief Q&A. So thank you very much. Now I want to go to another All Souls Unitarian, and Molly Graham, you're here for us.
Yeah, hello all. My name is Molly Graham, and I am a congregant at All Souls Unitarian. And we are right now in transition, as some people, if you know our church, we're looking for a new minister. But right now we have Louise Green as our interim, what we call congregate care minister. And that's how people in our congregation, if there's something going on for them, if they're concerned about something, there's an emergency, she's the one to get in contact with. And she will, I believe right now there are volunteers that can jump in when there is some issue going on with someone, whether it be a referral, somebody needs a visit, something really concrete like that. We also have, we don't have congregate care specifically for seniors. It's really for anybody in the church. But we do have the Silver Souls, which is a group of elders, and I'm a part of that as well. And one of the things that we are looking at now is how we can better serve our seniors specifically, to have sort of a congregate care arm of our group. Generally speaking, the Silver Souls, are really looking at like preserving a lot of the history of the church. They provided aging workshops and that kind of support to seniors. And, within the group, of course, I'm sure I know there is some pretty strong relationships. So if anybody in the active group, we're alerted right away. Otherwise, it comes in a different way. So we're really looking at, within the next number of months, really figuring out how we can better serve the seniors, as opposed to being primarily, a place for developing workshops and book clubs and that kind of thing, because we're all getting older and, we're going to be needing some assistance in some way. And some people are very isolated. We're doing all of our meetings, like most of you all probably are, on Zoom. And so sometimes people need some technical assistance, and we've been able to help people to make sure that they can get on and all that kind of stuff. And, so I'm really looking forward to and hope to have a voice, and I'm sure the Silver Souls will, with whoever is going to be the permanent minister of congregational care, because right now it's specific, it's like everybody. And so we want to have our own spot so we can really be specialists, so to speak, with the seniors in our church.
Great. Thank you so much, Molly. Appreciate
Sure.
that. Welcome. Next, I have Tina Lindberg from Annunciation Catholic Church, Is Tina here? Okay, we'll go on. I'm going to skip Cleveland Woodley Park Village because the Palisades Village, Erica Blanton, the new executive director there, will talk about villages in general, just to save some time. So let me move on to the Cleveland Park Congregational UCC. I think Serena, you or David are here to talk a little bit
Yes,
about.
I'm here. And
Okay.
Frank, did you have kids at Oyster Bilingual School?
Yes, my son went there. Okay.
I'm a former parent. I remember you from there. I didn't put the connection until I saw your face, but yeah, good to see you again. So we at Cleveland Park, we don't really have a separate senior group. We have groups for teens and we have groups for young adults, but our seniors are such a big part of our congregation that we don't actually have a separate seat. We sort of are the congregation. But in any case, we have a congregation care committee that keeps track of our older adults in general, especially those that live alone. And we pair them with other congregation members that for check-ins and things. We do either weekly or bi-weekly phone check-ins. Sometimes now that things are loosening up a little bit, we have coffee with one another or whatever. Then we have a larger congregation care team that is made up of people who support all of this activity that goes on with it. We provide rides to church. We make sure that people that have doctor's appointments get to doctor's appointments, that sort of thing. So we have a larger group that helps with that. But we're working on finding the balance between providing the necessary support that these people need and being clear on what our limits are in doing this. I mean, there's only so much we can take people to doctor's appointments, but do we also help make their appointments? Do we spend the time trying to figure out what their care should be with them? Or, I mean, it's probably it's beyond what we can do. And so we're interested to hear what other groups have going on or what resources they use. We are also wrestling with how the older adults do later life planning and whether we offer to assist with this or how deeply involved we get with that. We'd also like to have an emergency contact and information sheet for every older adult in our congregation, and we're sort of curious about what other churches, what other organizations do to make sure they have complete information. And in terms of programming, as I said, our older adults are well integrated into our regular programming and haven't really expressed much of an interest in being a separate group. However, we have had a representative from Iona Senior Services come and make a presentation to our adults in the past. So we do have specific, programs on a specific topic for them. So otherwise, that's what we've got.
Great. Thanks so much, Serena. Nice to reconnect in
Yeah.
a different venue. Okay. Jessica Smith, would you like me to show your slides, Jessica?
If you don't mind, I think we could just show a few. I know I don't have time to show all of them, but good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jessica Smith. If you want to go to slide 2, I am the Chief Operating Officer at DACL, the Department of Aging and Community Living. We are the local government agency that provides support to seniors, adults age 18 to 59 living with a disability, and caregivers. We do provide some direct services. However, a lot of the work that we do is through our community-based partners, some of which are on the call here today. We really know how important our community partnerships are, and we're so thankful for places like Villages, who are really boots on the ground, getting to know neighbors, serving folks directly, because we know that we could not do what we do without our villages and our faith communities and people who are living in neighborhoods helping their community members. I'll go over a little bit of the stuff that we provide, but I just wanted to make a quick note as some of you were presenting. We're always happy to be a resource for you all as you might be thinking about different programming. We're happy to link you with other people in the community. If you have an idea, we might say, hey, someone else is doing something like that in Ward 5 or whatever. And so please feel free to reach out at any time, and we're happy to provide guidance and insight and links to other folks that might have similar ideas in the community. Frank, if you wouldn't mind going to slide before, I'll just go through a few of our services that we provide. These are some of the services that are provided through our network. We have about 29 grantees that provide more than 40 programs in all 8 wards across the city. That includes adult day, caregiver support services, our community dining sites, counseling, emergency shelter, fitness and wellness centers, in-home support, legal services, nutrition counseling, recreation and socialization, transportation, and then of course, I know you all know about our senior wellness centers all across the district. So these are some of the things that are provided by our grantees. We asked our grantees this year to really look at what Frank mentioned before, which is this social isolation piece and senior hunger, which we know are linked, right? And so how are our lead agencies in each of our ward really tackling that social isolation piece? So all of the things that I mentioned are kind of geared towards social isolation by our grantees. If we go to the next slide, you'll see the services that are provided directly through DACL. Our information and referral line is a great place to send people that have questions just generally. We can steer them in the right direction. As you all have programs going on, again, feel free to send them to me so I can get them to our IRNA line so that when someone calls in, we might be able to refer them in your direction as well. We have this year brought in-house case management and home delivered meals. So as people are interested in getting case management support, maybe they need some assistance with some coordination around reaching some of their goals, or maybe someone is working with a lot of different professionals and you feel like it would be helpful for them to have someone who's kind of coordinating all those moving pieces, you can certainly refer them to our case management team. Our home delivered meals, as you know, are the meals that get delivered directly to people's homes who are homebound. And so we have both those services in-house at DACL now. We have a Medicaid enrollment team, and we have our Medicaid adult day health enrollment team, our health insurance counseling to be able to help direct people to the right program for insurance that might fit them best. We do community outreach and of course have different citywide social events that we partner with our grantees on. The last thing I'll just note, if we actually go to the last slide, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our adult protective services. As a social worker, I say when in doubt, call APS, right? If something doesn't feel right, or if you just have a question, it's always good to make a referral to adult protective services, and those professionals can kind of get more information and see if they need to do an investigation. But if you think that someone might be being taken advantage of or might be in danger, we just ask that you call our adult protective services number, which is on the screen here. And I would encourage you to save that in your phone so you have it handy as well. So I know we're short on time, so I'll stop there, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you all might have later as well. And thank you so much for inviting us.
Great. Thanks so much, Jessica. And thanks for coming out on a Sunday.
No worries.
Okay, I want to go now to Lisa to talk about Iona Senior Services. And Lisa, I can do your slides too.
Okay, wonderful.
Quick, sorry.
No, that's okay. Just two, and I'll just go over them. But first, thanks so much for putting this together, Frank. It's a great opportunity to share some information about Iona, of course, but also to get information from what's happening in the community is great. So thank you.
Is that showing yet?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So just a little background about Iona. Iona is a nonprofit agency that has been part of the community for more than 45 years, serving older adults, families, and caregivers. Each year, we help over 3,000 older adults and family caregivers with the challenges and opportunities of aging. And we're a regional provider with centers in Tenleytown and now Congress Heights. We have many departments and programs at Iona that serve the community and beyond. And here's a listing of most of them. We have a wonderful information referral department. We provide consultations and care management. We have a mental health and counseling department, and we provide support groups for older adults and family caregivers. We have an adult day program in Tenleytown and Congress Heights, which provides respite care for caregivers and a wonderful opportunity for older adults to be engaged and stimulated in programs. And we have Around Town DC, which is virtual, and then now some in-person classes and events. And much more. A lot is always going on at Iona, which is wonderful. And just to highlight some ways that we can help faith communities. I'm actually Iona's village and congregation social worker. So if clergy or lay leaders need direct support or resources or information about supporting their members, they can reach out to me directly. And that's my contact information. If you don't have it, please don't hesitate. We also can develop partnerships where we can help support, in the bigger sense, members of the congregation. And again, our information referral for members of congregations and villages is our hotline, and the information's there. For email as well. So again, you have my contact information now, or as a reminder, it's there, and please don't hesitate to reach out with questions or when support is needed. We're happy to, be able to serve you all. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Lisa. Sorry for the fast pace here. Everyone's doing a great job and we'll get through it. I want to actually now go to Erica to talk a little bit about villages generally. There are 13 in DC, 3 in Northwest, and she'll tell us a little bit about those.
I'm with Palisades Village, which serves the neighborhoods of Berkeley and Foxhall and Kent, Palisades, Spring Valley, and Wesley Heights. Next month is going to be the 20th anniversary of the Village Movement, which started in Beacon Hill, and some neighbors got together and figured out how they can support one another to stay in their homes. Palisades Village was founded after an article was written about Beacon Hill, and in the Times, oops, that's all right. And they decided to start a village here. So as Frank said, there are 13 villages in DC alone, 200 across the country. And each one is a little bit different based on their community. So while we all have the same spirit, Frank and Stephanie and I each operate just a little differently. The villages connect members to the services that they need. Our volunteers help with a whole range of services. We take members to the doctor and help with grocery shopping and making friendly visits or phone calls and doing little household tasks. Our most popular is getting on a ladder to change a light bulb, and more help with tech support. And in many ways, the more important part, while it's wonderful to have all of these requests, it's the companionship of the volunteers that are helping our members that really is the critical part. And while we have specific activities to help our members stay engaged socially, often it's the help with the specific services that is more beneficial than the things that we do on a daily basis. We have fitness classes and parties and author talks and go out on outings and have all sorts of interest groups that meet regularly. We have a storytelling group and a mindful knitting group. Again, very specific to the community. This morning we hosted a little holiday sing-along at the farmers market in Palisades, and it was fun because we had attendees from little 4-year-olds to 104-year-old. Our villages operate with a very small staff, and there are other villages in the city that operate that are entirely volunteer led. But the actual services are provided by volunteers that we have specifically vetted and trained. And we also benefit from Barbara Scott, who's on this call as a case manager. When we have critical situations, she's able to jump in for us. Our members can become members. We have 2 different levels of membership. We have those who specifically need services and those who don't need services yet, but want to support the village. And we make sure that there are no barriers based on income to people being able to join. So welcome any inquiries. Frank, Stephanie, do you have anything that you'd like to add specifically to your situations?
Sure. Stephanie, why don't you go ahead?
Sure. I just wanted to mention one of our speakers earlier was talking about questions about medical advocacy and so forth. And many of our villages also offer medical note taking to help in those situations when the medical appointment is 10 minutes long and there's lots to cover. So we do provide a number of safety net, both through volunteer services as well as professional services to proactively address issues with older adults before they become major crises.
Great. And I'll say Cleveland Woodley Park Village operates much like Erica and Stephanie's villages. One unique thing that we do is, I think it's unique, we actually provide home cooked meals for paid for and made by volunteers and delivered by volunteers to a very small group of select people that either cannot cook for themselves anymore, but more importantly, won't accept any other types of meals because they feel like there's a stigma associated with it. So it's a very small group of people because it's very labor intensive, but we really make a point. And so for me, it's really important to say that because I find that there's a lot of assumptions about who might be food insecure. And it's more than, there are food insecure people, older adults in Ward 3. And so it's sort of a message I keep like hounding and saying that I think we all have a responsibility for. So I'm glad that we're part of that solution. I want to just introduce quickly Barbara Scott to say hello, who works for 7 Villages as our short-term case manager and who does just a fabulous job.
Hi there. Thank you, Frank.
Great. Thank you for being here, Barbara. Now I want to go to Seabury Resources for Aging. And Beth, I believe you're going to be able to be here for us.
Yes. Hello.
Great.
I'm Elizabeth Boyd. I'm Director of Congregational Resources at Seabury Resources for Aging. And in that capacity, I conduct outreach to let congregations know about Seabury's other services, which are a sort of large umbrella, if you will. We've been in the community since 1924, when we began as the Episcopal Church home in Georgetown, which was for retired clergy. Since then, our portfolio has grown. We have affordable senior living in Tinleytown and downtown Silver Spring, as well as congregate care living in Ward 5. We have a care management division. You'll hear from my colleague in a few minutes. We run the Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired, Model Cities Senior Wellness Center in Ward 5, the Out and About program for LGBTQ older adults, and the Connector Card that provides affordable transportation through a branded Visa card. Our Seabury DC is one of those grantees that Jessica was mentioning, and we run a number of the dining sites through that program. As Congregational Resources itself, we offer Seabury's largest annual event honoring older people from Episcopal and UCC congregations. It's called Seabury Celebration of Service. It's at the Washington National Cathedral every spring. We, of course, have been dark because of the pandemic, but we plan to bring it back in May. We also have service opportunities with Seabury's Age in Place program that provides free yard work and house cleaning to about 150 clients in wards 4, 5, and 6. And so I like to promote that as a nice service opportunity for congregations because it's all volunteer, all the labor is volunteer. I'm increasingly working on some senior ministry programming. In fact, with someone else on the call, developing an elder spirituality curriculum where we train facilitators. It is a Christian program, but we train facilitators online to offer a 6-part curriculum in their own congregation. It's called The Path Ahead, Spirituality and Purpose in Later Life. And we also have authored a 4-part intergenerational worship series called Common Threads. So all of that, that's a lot to get your mind around. But if anyone is interested or curious about any of that, please contact me at Seabury.
Great. Thanks so much, Elizabeth. Now I'd like to go to Marcy Fisher. I'm sorry. Joe Turner is representing St. Albans. If you could.
And I will tell you that the music was coming from my Jackie Lawson Advent calendar, but was running in the background. So I'm sorry I brought that up. Carol Aschenbrenner was going to be the presenter. She's stuck in a vet emergency right now, and she has slides and all that. I think I can pretty much just give you a brief outline, and then she will send in her slides to Frank tomorrow to be part of the report. I was previously a non-stipendiary pastoral care coordinator at St. Albans. So in that capacity, I've worked, I see Christine smiling, worked with both Iona and Seabury with case management. But I'm pretty well familiar with what we've got going. Just for socialization, I just want to throw in real quick. We have, well, before COVID, we had a monthly luncheon and they were called OWLs, Older, Wiser Laity. And we had pretty good relevant guest speakers for that. The men have Romeo's, which is retired old men eating out. My husband's sort of appalled that he just became a member, but anyway. So there are programs like that. As far as a real structure though, we have, there's an organization within our parish now called We Care. And basically it sort of took over my job when I left my job there. And it's broken down. There's five of us who are We Care coordinators, and we have various areas of responsibility and coordinating with clergy and getting information from clergy about who needs what. We have a coordinator for meals and rides. We have a coordinator for visiting the sick and homebound. I have what's called transitional companions. People are just going through a difficult time and don't need something specific, and I'm sort of working with them. Also, we have a Stephen ministry that's very alive and active. And they, of course, elders are part of their care, but they're not strictly elders. One thing that we're grappling with, and I would really hope to learn from you all if you're doing a great job with this, but an issue of, we've all become very dependent on the internet for communications, and messages go out from church, announcements about programs. Everything happens in either email or on our website, and mostly seniors, but not just seniors, do not have ability to access that information. and they're getting appropriately a little ticked off about it. We used to have in previous years a mailed out newsletter, but that was cumbersome to produce and expensive. And it wasn't really good to be responsive to, sort of news happening now. So we're kind of trying to figure out how to work better on communications with parishioners who do not have, some of them don't even have computers or don't, and aren't going to learn. I mean, we've had a lot of folks who say, well, I'll go out and I'll teach and I'll help, but they, nope, I can't do that. So
Great.
that's a problem. I'd love to hear other people talk about. And well, some of you mentioned medical issues. We do have, one of our coordinators is a physician, and she is able and happy to be with someone in a hospital, or as it will become available, or on doctor visits. We have several of us who take notes, who can take notes on doctor visits. I would say that two of us, myself being one of them and Carol Aschenbrenner the other, are pretty fluid on end-of-life care planning. And we've promoted, we've done several programs on that at church, and and sometime open to the community. It's always been really well received by people. So I would just say we would be happy to be a resource. My past life is in hospice care, and doing a lot of consulting work for end-of-life programs. So, and Carol is a physician. So, we'd be happy to be a resource for that.
Great.
And
Thank you.
we'll hear more from Carol. So.
Okay, thank you, Joe. And we'll save a little bit of time and hopefully come back to, I have your issue as being one of two that we can talk about. So thank you very much. Now I want to go to Susan Walker with St. Stephen and the Incarnation in Columbia Heights. And
yes,
try
you want to show my slides?
Yeah.
Okay. St. Stephen and the Incarnation in Columbia Heights is a very diverse congregation. We're bilingual. Misa Alegria is our Spanish-speaking congregation. And then we have folks that live not only in the neighborhood, but in Maryland, and I live in Virginia. I serve as the deacon at St. Stephen's, and I serve as the head of the pastoral care committee. So the notes I've made today reflect the work that we've done during the pandemic. And because the topic is isolation, our most isolated seniors and members are those who, one, do not have internet, and two, do not get emails, obviously, do not have a working phone, and people who are not English speakers, because a lot of the referrals I get for pastoral care come from our MISA folks, and I've had to learn Google Translate, and they're very patient, but it helped. It's a challenge. So what I wanted to note here were a few things that we've done during the pandemic for our most isolated. Because regular emails go out like everybody else, but we have these folks, about 20, who do not get emails. So our pastoral care team members have designated members of the congregation that they make regular phone calls to, send cards to, and visit if they're able. And that has really been very, very limited. During Holy Week and Easter and Pentecost this year and last year, we had volunteers deliver packets going to persons' doors, and the packets contained the worship bulletins for those liturgies and consecrated bread, because all of our services were online. So we were all given these packets so that we could participate if we had a video, a way of doing that online. And right now, our parish youth group, little kids, are sending out Christmas cards to the members at home who are elders, who many times don't have internet, but just our elders in general. And we did this at Easter as well. In addition, we have a list of about 20 people who get a weekly written mailing from the office that has in the past included the Sunday lectionary, the lessons, the prayer list, the sermon text when I can get it available from the preacher, and announcements, so that every week these isolated persons can get an update, or somebody who lives with them can read it to them. And we hope that that helps them stay in touch and let them know that we're thinking about them. I personally get referrals from the seniors who are at home, who are in need of assistance, like food, transportation, other resources. And I connect them when I can with nonprofits. And whenever we have resources, financial resources, I distribute those. So, and then I wrote something about our parish prayer list is in our weekly mailing. So everyone in the congregation hears the names of the persons being prayed for, and many of them are seniors. So then I thought I would just mention some of our challenges. Being bilingual is one of them. I didn't put that on there, but that's definitely a challenge as we are trying to come together as one church, not two separate churches, but one. So it's been really hard not being able to visit in person. It's been really hard not being able to bring the Eucharist to people who need to stay isolated. And then the other issue, and it's been brought up, is providing transportation to church or to appointments. We are a young congregation and many people don't have cars. They have bicycles. So it's hard finding folks who can volunteer to drive somebody. And then it's also hard when our phone numbers that we call are not in service, or there's no answer when we've left calls, or when we've knocked on a door and sent a card and no one responds. It's really hard to know, has that person moved on or whatever. And then also, I think it's a real challenge for folks to talk about the negative feelings that they experienced during COVID, because my experience is many times people just want to be friendly and have a positive outlook, you know, maybe be good Christians, I don't know, but isolation and negative feelings, it's hard. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate that. Next, I want to go to Linda Mahler to talk about St. Thomas Episcopal, and then I'll go to Honora.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I serve at St. Thomas Episcopal Church on 18th Street near DuPont Circle, and we are starting a ministry for seniors. I'm interested to see the ways in which it will grow. We have two groups that we have recognized as underserved within our congregation, and I think in the wider community as well. And that is older folks looking to make a transition from independent living to, say, assisted living or retirement community or nursing home care. And the other underserved group is children who are trying to help their parents make that transition. And as a way of serving that community, we are beginning a support group, which we think is very important, that it should have no lower age limit, so that people can talk about their issues in trying to make later life decisions about changes in living status, or in some of the challenges of that their parents are facing if they are children of parents that are looking to do that. And Elizabeth Boyd mentioned the path ahead. I have been trained as a facilitator in that, and we are looking into offering that as to provide a spiritual grounding to discuss end of life issues and issues around aging. So that's what's up at St. Thomas, and I invite you to put yourself in contact with us if you'd like to know more. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Linda. Now I'm going to go to Honora Precourt from Sibley Senior Association.
Great. Thank you so much, Frank. And it's so nice to see everybody in person. I just feel that we work together so well, and we're such a great group. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Honora Precourt. I'm the manager of the Sibley Senior Association. We have been around since 1987, when people just kind of gathered in the hospital at Sibley and told jokes to each other and supported each other. But our membership consists of people who are 50 years old and better in the DC metro area, 80% of whom live in DC and Montgomery County. We do have a few people who cross the river to come to us, but most of them are here in the metro area. So the Sibley Senior Association really does what so many of you are doing: fostering engagement, reducing isolation, education. We do a lot of prevention. We have exercise classes. They used to be held in person and now they're held on Zoom. Right now, we're going back to the Palisades Hub for a pilot test to do in-person classes, 6 feet separated. Everybody wears masks. People are glad to be together, but it's challenging. I think that they're happy to be in person though. We do meditation and mindfulness twice a week. We have hearing screenings coming up in December. We have the teenagers from Generation to Generation Technology helping our members with their devices and their laptops and their computers. We have 3 main conferences every year. One is our major event called Journey to Hope in DC, which is a conference for family care partners of loved ones with Alzheimer's. We have a sex and aging conference coming up in February. Older people like to have sex too, and it's been a little bit taboo talking about it. My boss, Marty Bailey, is just awesome. She's arranged wonderful speakers for that. We do programs for the LGBTQ plus community, and our big program is Club Memory for folks with Alzheimer's and their family care partners. We have that in all wards of the district. We used to meet in person, but now it's over Zoom. I have asked Frank for permission to share my screen. And as soon as you give that to me, Frank, I just love, I'm aware of the time and I know that we have time for discussion. So
yeah, I'm working on it.
that's
Sorry.
okay. No worries at all. I'd just like to show you our cover of our newsletter, because we do a printed newsletter. We produce a printed newsletter every quarter, and many of our members really enjoy seeing it in paper. It's a folded magazine. I know you can't see it very well, but I'll share my screen now. Thank you. And here it is. I'm enlarging it. Can you see it enlarged?
There you go. Mm-hmm. Great.
So it's a quarterly newsletter. I'm just going to get it a little bit smaller. And we have support groups that help people with grief counseling. We have support groups that help people with all kinds of oncology issues. We have a monthly support group with Parkinson's disease for people with Parkinson's and also their family care partners. And I know a couple of people in the Cleveland and Woodley Park Village are in that. We have a wonderful group of volunteers called Widowed Persons Outreach. And it's all people who have been widowed, who have experience with that. Claire Madrigal is a wonderful person who helps with our Rainbow Corner. Last month, we did a great talk with Cherie Wilson, who is the expert at Johns Hopkins about allyship, and it was so well received that we have a follow-up talk about how we can really be a powerful ally, and every individual has the power to help stamp out racism. We had a wonderful talk last month about how to age with vitality, dignity, and humor. I'm going to stop sharing because I could go on forever and ever. But one thing that we're doing in the first quarter, which is new, talking about rehab and our loved ones who have challenges with addiction. We have a wonderful expert talking about finding the right rehab and finding the way to help them in their journey. And Frank, I'm going to ask you if I can have everyone's email address. I'd be happy to send you the next quarterly newsletter. You do not have to be over 50 or a member of the Sibley Senior Association to attend any of our Zoom events. So you and your parishioners are all welcome to attend. And if you have any questions, I'll share my number and my email address.
Great, thanks so much. And just as a reminder, I will be sending out all the contact information for everybody to all the participants. I want to move right now to our last presenter, Nancy Pines, to talk about what they're doing there at Temple Micah.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everyone. This has been highly enlightening, and I'm thrilled to hear that there are threads between and among what many of our congregations are doing. My name is Nancy Pines, and I've been a 41-year member living in Cleveland Park, and I am an elder advocate, having worked with a number of different aging entities. So I'm thrilled to be one of the 5 members of the Hineni Coordinating Committee. Hineni is from Samuel, meaning here I am. And it's a volunteer committee at Temple Micah that provides loving care to our mostly elders in need, but it could be anyone in the congregation. We consist of over 170 volunteers who mobilize meals, make friendly visiting, deliver packages around the different high holy days and Hanukkah, homemade challah when there's been a death in the family or a basket. We attend Shiva, we visit in the hospital, and we also, transportation to doctor's appointments. But we're focusing a lot on those elders who, the same population many of you have been dealing with, who may not be tech savvy and connected. It's an extremely vibrant Reform congregation. We're located on Wisconsin Avenue, just south of the Washington National Cathedral at Fulton and Wisconsin, with a number of vibrant programs. We're starting to get back, for some people who choose to come back to the congregation, or to some events have been outside in our tent. But for most of the elders, the programs that are extremely well attended, there's a downtown discussion group, a Hebrew poetry, Torah study, Jewish thinkers of the 20th and 21st centuries, a monthly lunch and learn, a Psalm group, Torah study. And these are all lay-led and mostly led by elders. And the program that is going into, I believe its 6th year, my group is in it, alumni groups in its 5th year, is a program through the Institute for Jewish Spirituality in New York called Wise Aging. It's a 9-week program on living with joy, resilience, and spirit. You do not need to be a Micah member nor Jewish. It draws on the wisdom of a number of faith traditions, and it's really galvanized our community. Well over 120 members and non-members have journeyed through this discussion group, and then we continue to meet as alums. And we too, are eager to be in dialogue with the other congregations and social service organizations. And most of us, the 5 of us on Hineni, do make referrals to many of your group, Sibley Senior Association, Seabury, Iona, but we are a congregation with members in Maryland, Virginia, and DC. So we also refer to DC Department on Aging and Community Living, the different hospices. I mean, we maintain a current knowledge of where the resources are, and we journey with our members.
Great, thank you so much, Nancy. And for everyone, I think I got every organization there that's here. If I missed an organization, if you haven't been represented, please let me know. I did hear at least many topics, but really 2 topics of interest, but we're really out of time. So I'm gonna, those 2 things where people wanted to share experiences were around boundaries and how do you set those boundaries, and then grappling with how do you communicate with older adults who are not connected to the internet. I'll just quickly say we haven't done it haven't fixed the problem, but at Cleveland Woodley Park Village, we actually got the support of a neighborhood teenager who needed community service hours. And so we have a volunteer who prints out our newsletter, and then that teenager delivers all of those newsletters for us, so they get it in real time. We try, for some, we use the city services of free iPads when people could apply for those and qualify, and then we matched up volunteers. That worked for some people, and then they were able to be connected. It was a lack of technology or a lack of understanding of how to use that technology that were overcome. But in some cases, even with the technology, it wouldn't work. It didn't stick. It would stick one week, but it wouldn't stick the next week. And so we've now reverted in some cases to giving people a paper copy. So I'm going to jump now to the next webinar that we're holding for direct service providers. But I can't thank you enough for taking the time today to share your efforts. And I will be putting out information to all of you so that you can stay connected to each other and we can continue this conversation. This doesn't have to be the end, but just the beginning. So thanks so much. Take care, everyone.
Frank,
Bye-bye.
thank you so much. Bye, everybody.